It is feeling like summertime, but it's springtime in Columbia for the annual Garnet versus Black South Carolina spring game at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia. The 2024 Gamecocks debut here in April, and a lot of fans are on hand to see what's in store for them this season. That's my good buddy Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Taylor Zarzer. We'll get to the field with a surprise sideline reporter in just a minute. No more Xavier Leggett at receiver catching passes from Spencer Rattler. You have to turn the page in 2024. And the head coach of the Gamecocks, Shane Beamer's got a couple of options, at least a quarterback.
Yeah, guys are going to be somewhat new faces. You think of a familiar name, a popular name among the fan base, and Lenoris Sellers, a guy that we saw a little bit limited action last season, but he played well when he did get out there on the field in games. Totally different skill set, really. Obviously a passer, but more of a run, true dual threat quarterback who'll be more engaged in the ground game for the South Carolina offense, an element that they're going to need. It certainly creates some advantages for them offensively, and he's joined by the Auburn transfer, former Oregon Duck, Robbie Ashford, who is legitimately an elite runner with the ball in his hands. Coach is very excited about what Robbie Ashford can bring to this offense as well.
All right, our sideline reporter, the Cola Queen, Alyssa Lang, is in the studio tonight. So we're bringing in a special guest to be our sideline reporter, also known as the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Coach, like Alyssa, would you like to give an opening hit here or just answer questions?
I think I just want to answer the question. Y'all could have come to me after Sandstorm was over so I could actually hear you.
Well, it's one of the best traditions in the world, so we're not going to interrupt that.
Is that what Alyssa has to deal with? Because if so, I have even more respect for her.
I know that you're pumped to see what this team has in store for you here tonight.
Absolutely. No, it's been a really good spring. We got a fun group of players. They've been working their butts off all spring. Oh, damn!
Joshua Simon catching that pass on the first play of the game.
They've been working hard all spring. We've had 14 really good practices, full of energy, and like I told our players beforehand, this is an awesome opportunity for them to go out and compete in front of an amazing crowd and have some fun, but also it's practice 15, and there's still a lot of position battles that we're still trying to determine right now.
And you know good and well that most of the fans will be focused on the guy that's about to take this snap from center, Lenoris Sellers, and he hands it immediately past the 40-yard line up to the 40 as that carry goes to Oscar Attaway. What have you seen from Lenoris these last few weeks?
I feel like he's had a really good spring. He's got a little bit of an advantage that he's in year 2 in this system because he was here last year, and you were talking about Robbie Ashford and those other new guys, they are new. So he's got experience, but to me, he's taken great command of what we're doing. He's gotten better each practice, along with Robbie and our other quarterbacks. So I like what he's been doing, and he continues to.
They whistle him down, but
I'm talking to the TV. I'm trying to focus, man. See, I got the defense mad at me right now because they think it's a sack. Tag him off. All right, go ahead.
That's what we love about a live football game right here is you got too many responsibilities. He does have a mute button, by the way, so he can turn us off.
For 14 practices, I've been hearing the defense talk about it's a sack, but this guy's not easy to bring down. So just because you get back in the backfield doesn't mean it's automatically a sack and I'm going to blow the whistle. The guy's 240 pounds.
Hey, Stinch, you were talking about that with Coach on our call on the day before about how this is a new wrinkle in the Gamecock offense. It doesn't matter who's quarterbacking, Sellers or Ashford, their escapability.
Yeah, run element's always in there, even in an empty backfield.
A good ball across the middle, past midfield to Tyshawn Russell. Russell came on as the season went along in 2023. That's a pickup of 17, Stinch.
You know, and a guy that you can obviously tell with Sellers and Russell, right? They need to develop that next battery in the passing game. Last year was so prolific with Rattler and Leggett, neither available this year. And so the more chemistry you can establish early, right, especially heading into like a summer camp, the better it is. Russell, as you mentioned, finished last season pretty strongly. Seems like he can build on that performance.
Sophomore, and a good ball again right at the line of scrimmage to Luke Doty. What is he playing this year, Coach? Quarterback, receiver, everything?
He's everything. I talked to him back in January when we were putting together the positions for the website, and I said, what do you want to be listed as? And he said, athlete. And that's really what he is. He's taking more of a role on special teams for us this spring. He's primarily working as a receiver. That's probably all you'll see him at tonight as receiver. He still goes to the quarterback meetings each day, but he's really tried to hone in on being a great receiver, but also a guy that, you know, we got 12 players on this team that were here in the 2020 season, and he's one of them as well. So he's been a great leader for us.
Norris moving the ball down the field, hands it off here to Attaway. A transfer comes in from North Texas. That is a big part of college football in 2024, Shane, is going and finding players in the portal, and you found several running backs.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oscar is out here right now. Jawarn Howell is out here right now. Those are 2 transfers that we brought in, obviously Rocket Sanders. But then the guy that just made the tackle, Demetrius Knight, he's a guy that transferred from Charlotte that was an all-conference player. Looking at the offensive line right now, you've got a transfer right guard that came from North Carolina Central, Torres L.D. Simpkins, transfer left guard. True freshman left tackle, so there's a lot of new faces that are really, really talented.
Another dump off. This one goes to Attaway out of the backfield. It's a first down catch, Stinch, near the 30.
Showing some nice hands right there over the middle, weaving his way through traffic. And on that previous snap, I thought Kason Henry at right tackle got some really nice push on Umazulu. Coach, I know that was a guy in Kason Henry that y'all were counting on. Lost him early in the opener.
Early, yeah. Play 3 of the season, I think, or play 2. And not to mention the guy that we thought was going to be our starting left tackle got hurt in this game last year, so I don't want to bring up any bad mojo. But, yeah, it was just kind of one of those years. But, you know, it was next man up, and we had to play a lot of true freshmen last season. Trevon Ball and Tree on the offensive line started the whole season essentially on the offensive line in the SEC. Went through some growing pains, but they'll be so much better for it. Not to mention those guys last year, those 2 offensive linemen that had to start, they didn't even get here until June. They weren't here for spring practice, but we've got 3 true freshman offensive linemen that are here right now, and they've been here since January, so they'll be so much, including this left tackle right here, Josiah Thompson from Dillon, South Carolina.
It's up pretty good there, and Ellis escapes. Lenoris Sellers gets inside the 15, down near the 12. Bakari Swain is able to force him out of bounds, but that's what Lenoris can do, Stinch.
What do you think, Stinch? Sack, or was he good there?
No, he's good. Absolutely. No, there's no chance they get him on the ground.
All right. Now, I mean, those 2 DNs now are pretty sporty. Those 2, both of them are freshmen and that we're really excited about. It's going to be Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart and Desmond Umeozulu. So, like the way we've improved our depth up front, and you've seen it with those pass rushers right there.
Stewart, a freshman from Washington, D.C. You mentioned Kennard. He led Georgia Tech in sacks last season. There's the 10th play of the drive now inside the 15 down to the 13-yard line. And it's Attaway again. We did see Jay Braswell come in for a play. That tackle goes to Bengali Kamara at linebacker. And that's one thing you notice on this drive, Coach, the linebacker play so far in this spring. I know it's something you've been very proud of.
Yeah, I think we're so much more athletic at linebacker, and we're deeper at linebacker. Debo Williams, Bam Scott returned. We got the 2 guys that are out there right now, a transfer, Bengali Kamara and Demetrius Knight, and then 2 true freshmen that we're really fired up about, Fred Johnson and Wendell Gregory.
See what Sellers can do here. Gets out again to the house. Forget about it. Lenoris Sellers, a 13-yard touchdown.
And you would say that, Stinch, you're an O-line guy. Of course you didn't think it was a sack.
Hey, look, the interior did a great job. You got to have a pocket to climb into.
But see, there's Boogie Huntley, our defensive lineman, just ran up into my face and told me there were 3 sacks on that drive that I missed.
I can't wait for him to see the film. It looks very different up here.
Exactly.
Wait till you put him back in on offense. He'll say it wasn't a sack. We did see Boogie with a couple of wrinkles in 2023 play both ways.
How about that opening drive?
Yeah, it was nice. William Joyce for the extra point here. It was 11 plays, 70 yards, 6.5 minutes. And it's Lenoris Sellers.
I'm talking to the TV crew. They said they weren't sacks.
We're back here in Columbia in just a moment after watching Lenoris Sellers get into the end zone. This is fantastic. Shane Beamer talking trash to his team as we go to break. It's the Garnet and Black game here at Williams-Brice Stadium, South Carolina. Looking forward to the 2024 season as they get ready for SEC play. With Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzer, head coach Shane Beamer, kind enough to join us on the sideline, actually on the field tonight as our field analyst. Coach, that was impressive from Lenora Sellers. Hey, tell us how the teams were drafted the other night.
Yeah, we did a real draft. We have our two head coaches, our head equipment manager, Larry Waters, and our team nutritionist, Yemi Rodriguez. They were the two head coaches. And we broke up the team, or not broke it up, but just every player was draft eligible. And we did some things for the offensive line, but we wanted to make it competitive. We did it last year, Taylor, and we learned some things, like these guys were so competitive last year. There were only 2 long snappers in the game, so one team purposely drafted both snappers so the other team wouldn't be able to kick field goals.
You like that?
It's great.
So we tried to avoid that and take charge in a little bit more as coaches, but awesome night, so much fun, great opportunity to come together as a team, and really cool to see some of our down the line guys that maybe fans don't know their names get drafted and how excited their teammates were for them. So it was really, really cool.
It's our first look at Robbie Ashford in a Gamecock uniform. He could fly with the Auburn Tigers, and you see him get to the sideline here.
Hey, my bad.
9-yard pickup right there. Speed never slumps, Coach, especially when the pocket goes down.
Coach Beamer's down there trying to get another. He wanted to see a short yardage play right there, I think. He said, marking a yard short, but the chain crew had already made a decision. Hey, we're moving this sucker. Coach Beamer's doing a lot. I don't know if y'all saw this. I think he was asked to officiate a wedding or something down in the corner of the end zone.
Just going down there to congratulate him.
Jawarn Howell, who's a transfer.
Right now, my biggest concern is the transfer portal's open. I'm afraid I'm going to have 4 defensive linemen in the portal because I've messed them over with sacks here tonight that I haven't called.
There's a proposal.
Hey, yeah, we're watching the proposal on the replay here, Coach. She is thrilled in both of them. Congratulations. That's pretty cool on a fun Saturday night here in April. Engaged in Williams-Brice Stadium. That's awesome.
That even had they had opposing jerseys on those. She had the black shirt on, he had a Garnet shirt on.
We have a free play, I think, for Ashford here. And he gets past the 40-yard line. Brian Thomas to the head start.
Ronnie Porter with the accidental tackle of the quarterback. Quarterbacks are not live in this one. That was an element, that first possession.
Offside. Defense, number 46, in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Extending a couple of those plays. So you see there, Brian Thomas. Nice jump, just a little too early. Working against big Aaron Parks. And Coach, you talked about it coming into this, that y'all have got some guys that have solidified or would be solidified in some positions, but you're pretty high on some of these other offensive line guys that could potentially contribute towards fall.
Yeah, we are.
Good hole here by Howell.
Yeah, no, we are. We got a good group. I feel like we have more depth at every position, and offensive line is one of them. Like I said, we got 3 true freshmen out here. We've added some transfers. We bring the bulk of our offensive line back, and then we got older guys like Rashawn Lee and Ja'Kai Moore, who have been here forever, it seems. So it's a fun group, and kind of eager to see how it shakes out and being able to go into the season with, hopefully 9-10 guys that you feel comfortable putting in the game.
Ashford, a dual threat quarterback for Auburn the last couple of years, hands this one off inside the 46-yard line. Coach, what were your thoughts on bringing Robbie to Columbia?
Just increasing the depth in that room. I mean, Robbie was intriguing and appealing just because, he's a guy, he's played football. He's been at Oregon, he's been at Auburn, he started SEC games. He's a great young man. He's got athleticism, and he's improved as a quarterback this spring. So he's been a big, really good addition to our quarterback room, and, has made that room better along with our other guys.
5 runs so far in the game, and here's a 6th. This goes to Larry Scott, junior from Port Wentworth, Georgia. And again, let's explain the game rules tonight, Stinch. 12-minute quarters in the first half, 10-minute quarters. Could see a running clock depending on what Coach Beamer wants to do. We'll have some punt versus punt return drills in just a minute here at the end of the first quarter, and then some kickoff drills a little later on in the game. And as you already said, Matt, the quarterbacks are not live during this game.
Right, Coach is down there. He's worried, these D-line guys. They feel like if you can just touch the jersey, wow, that definitely was a sack. It's always easy to remind them in the fall.
Ashford slings a good one. Nice grab there across the middle. And remember this name, Mazio Bennett, the freshman from Greenville, South Carolina, who had a terrific spring the last couple of weeks, Coach.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. Highly recruited guy from Greenville. His high school teammate from Greenville High is Blake Franks, one of our offensive linemen that's out there right now. Mazio's come in and done a great job along with our other freshmen. And with these quarterbacks, too, we've had 2 scrimmages the last 2 Saturdays, and we made the quarterbacks live in those scrimmages. So these defensive linemen, they've had a challenge, and they've gotten their chance to hit these guys, too. So they don't have it all that bad.
Scott carries inside the 20, gets a hole following the right tackle, and gets another first down for the Gamecocks.
There's been a couple of really nice holes by the front. Aaron Parks this time in his right tackle position. They're able to capture the edge. Great job. Ryan Brubaker was able to climb up, create that entry point for Scott to get downhill. I got to tell you, man, Robbie Ashford, he does look thick. Coaches were talking about it. He got up to 240. He looks every bit of that. I don't think that's just a long sleeve shirt blowing in the wind. I think he's got some size to him.
So does Lenoris Sellers. He scored the touchdown, running it from the quarterback spot for the Gamecocks to start the scoring. Ashford is driving his team down the field. Come on back for the second quarter of South Carolina's spring game here in Columbia. We're back in Columbia for the annual spring game. Garnet and Black fans enjoying a beautiful spring night here in the middle of April with Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Taylor Zarzer. Shane Beamer, the head coach, been kind enough to put a microphone on and hang out with us for the broadcast tonight. Coach, a big part of your focus has always been special teams. We love to call it Beamerball. Your dad was amazing with it. So are you. Now, I know you were thrilled for your friend Pete Limbo to become the head coach at Buffalo, but tell us about that transition for your program this year.
Yeah, it's been great. Joe DiCamillo is someone that I've known for a long time and have learned a lot from as a special teams guy. I've been in the NFL his whole career, coached in 4 Super Bowls, spent last season at the University of Texas. To be able to get him in here as our special teams coordinator has been huge for us. He's done a great job of continuing to build on what we've done here in the past and implementing some new things, and our players are really buying in. I mean, you can watch this drill. This is just a competitive drill that for punt versus what we call punt pressure. And I mean, it's been like this all spring, the way these guys compete and make each other better out here.
And last year, he told us every week, he was like, I want my son Hunter wants me to come up with a play. I want to throw a razzle dazzle, but for health purposes, he wasn't able to throw as many wrinkles into the game as he wanted to.
Yeah, we got to continue to be aggressive, and there were times we tried last year, but yeah, we always want to be creative and force the issue and attack teams and make them really have to prepare for us and everything that we do from a special teams standpoint. So great job, finish! And what they do from a special teams standpoint, that can only mean one thing. That means Don Staley's here when you hear that noise. I thought they were getting excited about our special teams drills over here.
They're like, man, look at that gunner. That's a great release.
I'm like, I love this crowd. They're seeing the gunner get doubled, and they love it. That's so fast.
Embracing it.
Head coach of the national champion, undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks in the building. She's on the big screen right now. Fans here are going crazy for that.
Coach, y'all got a special relationship, it seems like, you and Coach Staley. Y'all have been pretty engaged.
She's been awesome. Someone that, when I was here before as an assistant coach, was right around the time where she had just gotten hired And great job, man. Great job. When she had just gotten hired, and then I've gotten to know her so much better in my time back here as the head coach. She's super supportive of our program, whether it be letting me come watch her teams practice or helping us with recruits or whatever it might be. She's been awesome. I've learned a lot from her. But not just her, but all the coaches here. Lamont Paris, our men's basketball coach, I see him over there on the sideline. He's super supportive, and there's a great family dynamic here at Carolina amongst the head coaches, where we all support each other, and we know that if one's successful, we're all successful. Good.
I just got back from the women's golf SEC championship. South Carolina was the #1 seed in stroke play. There, the men's tennis team is competing for an SEC championship as we're broadcasting this tomorrow. I know that you could be watching this at any point in the next couple of months, but here's Coach Staley talking to the team in front of Coach Beamer in practice. That had to be pretty cool, Shane, to have her come out there and talk to the team.
Yeah, she was great. Our team has so much respect for her, and I've talked to, y'all need some water? Y'all good? You know the water? All right, here you go. Hang on, Taylor, I'm sorry.
Yep, go ahead. Absolutely. Live game, you got a little bit more responsibility than just hanging out with us from time to time.
I mean, it really is wild. So Coach is down, he's setting up drills. He's helping people, propose. And it's a marital bliss. And he's down here, talking to us, negotiating sack, no sack with D linemen. Making sure guys are hydrated.
I do want to mention, as we transition back to Garnet versus Black, South Carolina has a huge advantage in the punt game with Kai Croak. That's one of the best punters in the country, who is destined to be an NFL player. And like Coach Beamer was saying, when you have Beamerball and you throw some razzle-dazzles, he's been phenomenal at throwing the football too. So watch out for him as he comes back this year.
You were asking me about Dawn coming out here. She was great, had a great message for our guys, and they have so much respect for her, like I do, and super excited about their success.
All right, so they pick up the drive where it finished.
Oh.
Robbie Ashford, and this is going to be incomplete. He handed that off to Jawarn Howell, and then Howell threw it into the end zone.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on. He handed it off to Gerald Kilgore, who's a defensive back.
Okay, Kilgore's on
and threw it to Vakari Swain, who's also a defensive back.
I was like, wait a second, we don't have a 23 on this team.
Clearly, I've lost control over my football team because we got DBs out here playing offense right now.
I was like, wait a second now. Okay, so we got guys going both ways. I do know that's my guy, O'Donnell Fortune, who had the big pick 6 against Notre Dame in the Gator Bowl a couple years ago. Almost got that ball there. Now Ashford, he will throw the ball instead to the end zone, and too strong for Brady Hunt, who comes in from Ball State, where he had
That's a sack. That's a sack. That's a sack.
Call it a sack. All right.
So that time got there just in time. I will say that I don't know that the quarterbacks are going to be that threatened by Gerald Kilgore as a passer. It was an ugly ball, to say the least. Ball came out a little bit late on this one.
Now, he came from Tennessee Tech, and I want to say he started his career as a quarterback at Tennessee Tech. Clearly, he's been playing way too much DB here recently.
Jalen's brother, by the way, Gerald, and we'll see Gerald on defense quite a bit this season for the Gamecocks. Ashford's in trouble. Oh, they whistle him down again.
So that time, a little stunt that got him. The protection right up the middle. That's a real challenge, of course, and that's something that's different than we saw in that initial. So you see them stunning, rolling all the way inside. So that time, Gilbert Edmond.
Is a Gamecock again.
Yeah, that's right.
He was with the program for a couple of years and went to Florida State and is now back here in Columbia.
As Coach was mentioning earlier, you take these, the offensive fronts, sometimes they're not always on the same page, twists and stunts, especially in spring games, a challenge to pick up. Back-to-back pressures on Robbie Ashford.
Alex Herrera from 55 yards away.
Bad mechanics, whether the snap or the hold.
Mason Love had some trouble with it, and Alex Herrera comes up short. South Carolina's Garnet team leads the Blacks 7-0 here in the second quarter. Be cool to get to have two people that are on your staff serve as head coaches in the spring game. This is the Black team coach, Larry Waters, Director of Football Equipment and Apparel Operations. He's done a great job here in Columbia, worked at Alabama and at Mississippi State, and is now with the Gamecocks. And did you see who was talking to him when we were in commercial there, Stitch? Sean Elliott is back with the program. Tight ends and run game coordinator, worked with Coach Spurrier just like Coach Beamer did. Went and was the head coach at Georgia State for a few years.
Former O-line coach here in South Carolina. Ran his own ship down there in Atlanta for Georgia State, now back. Speaks well of Coach Beamer's program and this town. Guys will want to come back here and coach when they get an opportunity.
This is Attaway. We've seen a lot of him in the first half, and he gets past the 40 up near the 44-yard line with Matt Stinchcomb and Shane Beamer. I'm Taylor Zarzer as the Gamecocks get ready. There's Coach Elliott over on the sidelines. Know you love having him back, Coach Beamer.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just the experience they have. Sean's a guy that loves this place, has head coaching experience. Certainly will help with our run game. We got to run the ball better, and he'll help with that, coaching our tight ends. And really like the group that we had. Mike Furry's a former head coach. He's in now as our receivers coach, and added a veteran like Joe DeCamillis, added a veteran running backs coach in Marquell Blackwell. Added a veteran coach, period, and Mike Shula, the former Alabama head coach, that's working on our staff now as an analyst and doing a heck of a job helping our offense. So couldn't be more excited. I feel like our team's in a better place than what they were in November, and it's because of the players we brought in here, but the coaches we brought in here also. They've really fit in well and made us better.
Meanwhile, this is a good half of football that Lenora Sellers is playing through these first couple of drives. Stench, he's 3 for 3 on third down. He's found 4 different receivers. Finds Attaway there for a first down. Plenty of time here.
Oh, Boogie Huntley. He's ill. Look at him, flag down. He was over there just hopping around. Can't believe now he's lobbying Coach Beamer.
Say it again.
He's lobbying again, huh?
He's mad at me.
Yeah?
Taylor was mentioned in the Notre Dame game. Boogie just told me, I know you remember that play I had against Notre Dame. He took him out of field goal range. He made an unbelievable effort play that I always show our defense about playing with great effort. And he's like, I know you remember that play. That's what I would have done right there. But no disrespect to, I think it's Ian Book. No disrespect to Ian Book, but I've seen Lenore's get out of that sack a lot of times here in practice.
Yeah, I'm wondering if does he have the earpiece in for the broadcast, and then one of the linebackers has Clayton?
He's doing more talking than he is playing. I'll take care of him here in a minute.
On 1st and 20, Sellers throws behind the line. It's caught by Gage Lavardin, who comes in from Miami of Ohio. Had a record 99-yard touchdown reception last year and made a real difference for the Redhawks in their program. I know you're looking for depth at receiver, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we lose a fantastic player in person in Xavier Leggett. So to increase the depth in that room, we had to go in there and attack the portal. We brought in some freshmen. You just mentioned Mazio Bennett, and then the transfers that we brought in, led by Gage. They're guys that have been really, really productive at the schools they're coming from.
How about that range from Dylan Stewart, a true freshman on that play? I mean, we're talking about negligible yardage. Number 6. He's back in there again. Obviously whistled dead. Number 6, Dylan Stewart, true freshman.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Transfer Torricelli Simpkins. There at right guard. A little bit early. And of course the D linemen are always very helpful. They're happy to point that out.
You have some flashbacks right now?
Yeah, I'm starting to twitch. It's a PTSD, these D linemen up there just talking about, oh, that guy flinched.
On 2nd and 28, Sellers with the handoff. And it goes to Braswell. And he comes close to the 40-yard line. Coach, one guy we're not going to see tonight that we will see in the fall is Raheem Rocket Sanders, the transfer from Arkansas. Of course, played for Coach Loggins when he was with the Razorbacks. What does Rocket bring to your program? Well, he's in there coaching them up right now, but that's a big thing to remember, Stench, about the season is you have Raheem Rocket Sanders coming in. You got Juju McDowell that's back. He's not here tonight.
You think about, so you got that run element, a legitimate run threat at all times at quarterback, regardless of who ends up winning out on that battle. And then a talent like Raheem Sanders in the backfield.
On 3rd and 23, Sellers gets rid of it, and it's incomplete. He's trying to find Jared Brown. Another transfer comes in from Coastal Carolina.
Time Big Nick Eamon-Wari able to make a play coming over. Another new face. And we talk about the passing battery, the impact it can have on the run game with this element. That's a play that Brown could have, should have come up with that catch.
First incompletion of the game for Lenora Sellers. And Kroger with another cannon of a punt. Just rolls into the end zone, the 62-yard punt on a beautiful night in Columbia, South Carolina for the Garnet and Black game. Black game from Columbia. Garnet leads Black 7-0 here on April the 20th. First game of the season is August 31st as the team works on some special teams drill. We'll take a timeout and be right back. Schedule in 2024. It begins right here in Columbia with the Old Dominion Monarchs before SEC play starts in Lexington, Kentucky. And then after that, look at some of these opponents that the Gamecocks play. LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama. No Georgia on the schedule this year, Stench. Instead, the Oklahoma Sooners are on the Gamecocks schedule this year.
So odd, right? You got a new entrant into the conference, and obviously the first year without divisions. 4 teams from the western half of the conference. Flag comes out there. Geographically speaking anyway, not divisionally, since those don't exist anymore. But the A&Ms, the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Ole Misses.
That's Coach Beamer, that's your old stomping grounds, Norman, Oklahoma, that you get to play in conference this year.
Yeah, it's be neat going back there. It's weird not seeing Georgia on the schedule, not seeing Tennessee on the schedule, not seeing Florida on the schedule. It's definitely a SEC West, former SEC West themed schedule, but excited for our fans, getting to go to some cool venues, excited for our players, and what a home schedule. But we know that season opener against Old Dominion is going to be a big challenge as well. They had a heck of a year last year and expect this year to be no different for them also.
Just over 4 months away from this spring game. Tonka Hemingway in the backfield there. Don't forget about Tonka. We've been talking about Boogie quite a bit. His running mate, Tonka, the graduate player from Conway, South Carolina, has had a decorated career for the Gamecocks.
Just a big body inside. And a guy that, last year we were talking with the defensive staff. He, along with TJ Sanders flashed in a couple of games a season ago, but Tonka Hemingway put together some nice efforts last season. See that C on his jersey for a reason.
Ashford gets out of there. Look at this guy's speed when he gets around the edge.
8. Gotcha.
Robbie, the senior from Hoover, Alabama. Coach Beamer was talking about the fact that he started his career at Oregon, then went to Auburn, and is now here in Columbia. Coach, you also have Dante Reno and Davis Bevel on the roster, too.
Yeah, Dante, true freshman. Excited to have him here. His dad's the head coach at Yale. And then Davis Bevel, South Carolina native, coming here from Oklahoma. So we got some guys with some experience at different levels, obviously, in that room. And you mentioned Tonka. Tonka Hemingway is everything that we want this program to be about. You talk about, dang it. Yes, we got to go. We got to go. It's a real game. There's a play clock. Tonka Hemingway is everything that we want this program to be about. I mean, he was a captain last year. He's not 100% healthy. I mean, he's banged up, but he's out here in the spring game in his 5th year of being a Gamecock football player. Fantastic young man, graduate of this university already, and every team needs more guys like Tonka Hemingway on their team.
See what Ashford and the black team do on 3rd and 27, just to hand off to McCracken just to get a couple, and there he is again. Yeah.
You have any more of those guys, it's nothing but negative yardage plays, right? Push the offense back. Started that series with a nice play, and then, of course, the penalty backs them up. It's another opportunity of situational football that pops up. And we're not seeing a ton, right? We're not going to see a ton of wrinkles out here, although we did see an attempted reverse pass with 2 defensive players on the field. But otherwise, this is opportunity for not just procedure, but also situations, how guys respond in a backed-up scenario.
That was a 50-yard punt by Mason Love, the freshman from Riverside, Missouri. Of course, Kroger will go into the season as the starter at that position, one of the best in college football, as Lenore Sellers and the Gamecock offense get ready to work again here. Coach, I know that you're juggling a lot of things, and we so appreciate all that you're doing. We were asking you about Raheem Sanders coming into Columbia this season to play one more season of football for you.
Yeah, huge pickup for us. Gavi, obviously, you look back at what he did in 2022 at Arkansas. Had an unbelievably productive year at Arkansas, proven SEC running back. We knew when he came in here, he's going to have his shoulder worked on and get fixed up. And he's had a great, since he got here, a great job of rehab, great job being a part of our team and acclimating himself to the guys, and excited about getting him healthy and getting him back out there to help our running game. We lose a guy, I see him over there on the sideline to carry on Joyner. He's over there. I got former players yelling at me for sacks or no sacks. He's over there telling me that whistle that I just blew on Bam Scott for a sack on Robbie would not have been a sack. So I can't win, but we lose a lot of production at the running back position, and being able to get a guy like Rocket here can fix that pretty quickly.
There's Jared Brown's first catch, comes over from Coastal Carolina. He also has a lot of speed. Not afraid to give him the ball out of the backfield, at least the last couple of years for the Chanticleers. Honorable mention, all Sunbelt player with 58 catches last year over in Conway, South Carolina.
Nice catch that time. At the drop earlier, as you mentioned, it was the first incompletion of the game for Sellers. That time able to connect to get it to 3rd and short here.
And a good job by Braswell getting through that hole and getting a burst of speed inside the 35. Swain on the tackle.
Well blocked at the point of attack. Not only did they dent the defensive front, everybody gets covered up. Really nice job. See there, even on the backside, Kamar Bell in there. Good job of wheeling on the backside to keep it nice and clean.
Timeout.
Timeout there.
South Carolina. It's their first of the half.
And Coach Waters,
3:30
like,
seconds.
hey, we got to stop the bleeding. See if we can't find a way to hold them off. You got an equipment manager on one side. You got the nutritionist. And you got the head of nutrition on the other side. You got to be careful here. You mess around, and I'm surprised actually the black team doesn't have like some jazzed up unis or something. They'd have the decals on the helmet. The other side would equipment staff. They played it down the middle. Looks like everybody got the same gear today.
Dowell Loggins is in there, the offensive coordinator, wearing that visor. You may be able to see him in the middle of your screen right there, and he is fired up. He said, I'm coaching everybody tonight. I'm not coaching just necessarily one team, and that's the same situation for Clayton White. Although Clayton did say, whoever wins the game is whose team I'm going to be on, because I always get to lose in these games, and I'm not losing tonight.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, he said he'd never been on the winning team in a spring game. That's wild. Well, yeah, you can't help but win in this one.
There's Dowell Loggins in black right there, the sweatshirt, talking to Luke Doty as their team comes back on the field. And Coach Loggins was responsible for one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in America last year. You could argue it was the best. Spencer Rattler and Xavier Leggett.
I mean, you're talking about a guy he's completing almost nearly 70% of his passes, and Rattler over 3,000 passing yards. And Leggett was sitting there number 2 in the conference, 104 yards a game. And The next closest receiver was Trey Knox, a tight end, with 31 yards a game. So you think about that. I mean, defenses knew where the ball was going, and Rattler and Leggett were still effective.
All right, we're going to see what the 2-minute drill looks like for Sellers here, just outside the 35-yard line.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, first down.
True freshman Josiah Thompson.
But one of the first names that Coach Beamer told us about when we had our meeting, the freshman from Dillon, South Carolina, that'll have a chance to compete to play a bunch in 2024.
Big, long, uses those levers well, and with those arms, pass protection.
An inside handoff goes to Attaway. Not much doing there as Eamon Worry and Vakari Swain came in to make the tackle.
Vakari Swain was a name that popped up, and Clayton White was talking about familiar to them, but maybe not to many at home. Good job coming up in run support, negative yardage play there. And as you mentioned, they put the time back on the clock. See what this offense looks like with a 2-minute scenario. See Swain, good looking player, 6'1", fills out 188 pounds.
Sellers dumps it off underneath. Good catch and move by Gage Larvadan again. And he goes inside the 30-yard line where he's tackled by Kennard. Clock running, under a minute to go here in the first half. Garnet up 7-0 with the football.
The coach, in a 2-minute scenario, knowing that you've got a couple of quarterbacks in this game that haven't seen a lot of game reps. Obviously, y'all worked out in practice. What are you looking for here situationally from your offense and your quarterback?
Timeout.
Yeah, just
South
how they
Carolina.
handle it and the mechanics of it. We do 2-minute quite a bit. We've done it in every scrimmage. We do it in practice pretty regularly. So they've gotten a lot of work at it, a lot of different situations, but there's no substitute for being able to do it in an environment like this. We obviously don't get a preseason game like every other level of football does, and pretty much every sport in the world at every level does. So to be able to get a real live thing in this environment is super beneficial, and eager to see. It's nice too, since I'm not the head coaches of both teams, watching the nutritionist and the equipment manager worry about the clock and calling timeouts. Takes a little bit off my plate. I'm doing like y'all are doing more than I am.
There's Yemi Rodriguez, who we're showing on the sideline right there, the director of football nutrition, who's having the time of his
He doesn't
life
look
over
too
there.
stressed.
Yeah, he looks like he's pretty happy.
relaxed.
He worked in the Cubs organization for a while.
Yeah, he told me before the game that he was really worried about keeping the guys hydrated. I'm like, buddy, you're the head coach. Like, you got assistants to keep them hydrated. You need to make the decisions on 4th down.
He's over there like, hey, I snuck some kale into their smoothies this morning.
It's 3rd and 7 for Sellers. And here come the black team bringing pressure. Sellers gets out of there as usual. Get used to this in 2024 with the South Carolina Gamecocks. This is a new identity, coach, that you got in the backfield now.
Yeah, he can run. He showed that in some games last season, what he could do with the ball in his hands. And we got a couple guys. Luke Doty's obviously an athlete at quarterback. Robbie Ashford, we've already talked about his ability to run. So it brings a new element and something that will be something we'll have to take advantage of this year with our quarterback position.
There's a 17-yard run there. 4 carries, 44 yards, including a touchdown run for Sellers here in the first half. 28 seconds to go inside the 15. Sellers, they whistle him down before he threw that football to Tyshawn Russell. And we're going to give it to Dylan Stewart, I believe. He got his hand on him, and that's someone that's flashed here in the first half.
Another guy showing some range. Nice power rush. You know what's interesting too, the scramble game, it's not just the quarterback. Everybody else has to adjust to that too. And on several of these scrambles, even though these quarterbacks aren't live, there has not been a lot of proximate secondary players that are getting in there because these receivers are turning and blocking. As soon as they feel Sellers or Robbie Ashford for that matter, when they get downhill past the line of scrimmage, you can tell that they are in that scramble drill. At that point, he's a runner, and now I'm a blocker. I'm no longer looking to come back to the football. If you're shallow, you go deep. If you're deep, you come shallow. Now it's, no, I got to turn and block for these guys because they're thinking run once we escape the pocket. I've seen the receivers. They've done a pretty good job of turning into blockers on the perimeter.
Second down, 22 seconds left. Sellers out of there again. Oh, he's going to throw it, and a good ball inside the 10. Making a cut is Russell. Just shy of that first down, and clock stopped with 10 seconds left.
I wonder what Coach Yemi is going to call right here. Something with avocado, maybe?
So, TJ Sanders, our defensive tail. Yimi's background is in nothing but baseball. So, for about his first month on the job, he called me Skipper, like that baseball manager. So, TJ Sanders, our defensive lineman, came to me after I made Nimmy the head coach and said, "How in the heck are you going to name a guy head coach that knows nothing about football?" But our players love him, and they've embraced it. As a head coach, I'd like to see him in the huddle with the offense up here.
Very casual.
What they're going to do.
Yeah. I think
he's very under control over there. He's got this under control.
I think Coach Loggins has this handled. Yeah.
I know this.
Yemi's over there wanting to run the squeeze play, and Dowell's like, "Yeah, I think we got something else in mind."
He's over there saying hit and run.
Yeah. He's over there bragging about. I will say that Garnet team looks incredibly hydrated.
And, after the draft the other night, they broke it down, and you know most teams break it down on win. They broke it down on hydrate the other night.
That's great. Oh,
so here we go.
Gamesmanship.
I like the gamesmanship right there.
Gamesmanship, yeah.
Seeing what they're in. I like that.
Quick timeout. Okay, so this is what you're going to come. All right, so there's Coach Loggins. He's out there saying, "Okay, guys, you know, here I got this. Your head coach is over there, and he's setting out the peanut butter crackers for halftime. I'm going to get this call in for the next whatever. We got 10 seconds to play here." But for sure, this is real, right? So you can see there's some intensity in that huddle.
As much fun as Coach Beamer and you and I are having, you got to love the intensity you see from Coach Loggins, you see from Coach White, Sean Elliott, we've seen it too.
This is a competitive group. Even Nicky Manwari back here, I mean, he's our, fantastic defensive back for us, freshman All-American a couple years ago. He's been hurt, haven't really practiced much the last week or so. I talked to him Thursday night, like, you're planning on playing, right? And he's like, "I ain't missing this, coach." And I thought he'd get like a series or two. Here he is in here at the end of the first half and competing like it's the SEC championship game. So love that about these guys. Says a lot about the people in our program.
That's the kind of guy you want a quarterback in this situation. 5 of 6 on third down. He's been terrific here. Across the middle, incomplete. Threw it into traffic. Simon and Eamon Worry fighting for it. And Nick celebrates an incompletion with 5 seconds left to go in the half.
Look at the size of Beamerball, Worry. 6'3". I remember the first time we saw him down there on the field. And, there's no way this guy's playing in the secondary. That is a specimen, to say the least.
My goodness.
See him. He's made a couple of nice plays in this game.
And an immediate impact player when he was a freshman and carried that on to his sophomore season as well.
Oh,
he had a whistle.
They're trying to freeze him. Wow. Oh, the black team a couple of times. That's Coach Waters. I wonder, was Coach Waters, did he run down there to get this timeout?
Oh, do we have a replay? Here we go. There he is. There you go. Good job, Coach.
Look how subtle that was, too. Like he's done it a million times. No panic. Look, good job, Coach. That timeout. Let's ice this guy.
Peyton Argent is in to attempt this field goal. A redshirt freshman from Hoover, Alabama. Hold by Jordan Franke. And it's through there, and it's 10-0 Garnet at the half. Coach, a real quick comment on what you saw there in the first half.
I thought it was very clean. Definitely competing, like you said. Not a lot of pre-snap penalties, the things you want to see. So Really like it. Larry and Yimmy have them looking like well-coached football teams out here, and going to do some awards here at halftime and then get back out here and compete. Our spring game last year, the team that was losing at halftime made a valiant comeback, and this thing actually went to overtime. So stay tuned. I think the best is still to come.
There we go. 10-0 Garnet leading the Black as we get ready for the awards at halftime. We'll go through South Carolina's schedule in 2024. It's a beautiful night in the great city of Columbia, South Carolina, for the annual South Carolina Spring Game. It's halftime. Garnet leads the Black 10-0 here on SEC Network in Columbia, South Carolina. Let's listen in here as we go through the awards this spring with the Gamecocks. Tonka Hemingway just receiving an award from Coach Beamer there, going into his 5th season.
And on special teams, William Joyce.
That's a lifelong South Carolinian right there, Stench.
Yeah.
Great high school football player and starring for the Gamecocks for 5 years. It's a big deal in this state.
A moment ago, Ryan Brubaker, who's getting
Most
some reps.
improved. On offense, Casey Henry.
Right tackle, potential right tackle for the Gamecocks this season.
He was injured. What Coach Beamer said, I believe, the
On
third
defense,
offensive
Bam
snap.
Martin Scott.
And that is the first name that Coach Clayton White mentioned when we talked to him about this upcoming season. There's Coach White and Coach Beamer with Bam Martin. He said
On special
significantly
teams,
improved from last
Reese
year.
Brown II.
More confidence for number 22. He's going to need to. Reese Brown being recognized, one of the tight ends
Gamecocks
here.
Toughness Award. On offense, Taracelli Simpkins III.
That's a fun one to get.
No question. He's gotten some reps. They've played him at some center.
On defense,
Got some reps
Tonka
at guard.
Hemingway.
Tonka Hemingway, someone's going to have to help him take all his plaques off the. That's number 2 for him now. As you heard Coach Beamer earlier say, you can't have enough of those guys on your team.
South Carolina Spirit Award. On offense, Luke Doty.
How cool is that? He's done everything the team has asked him to do the last couple of years, playing quarterback, playing receiver, do whatever it takes.
Been here since 2020. A guy that's been a
And on
loyal
defense,
Gamecock.
Kyle Kennard.
Kyle just got in here, the transfer from Georgia Tech, and wins the Spirit Award. Had a good career there with the Yellow Jackets as well. 6 sacks and 6 games started last year.
2024 Spring Game Award winner.
And here are all your winners for the Gamecocks in the 2024 spring. Congratulations to all of them for their awards
The Gamecock
that they
Club
just
Online
won.
merchandise store is back.
Just went through all of that as we get ready for the 2024 season, just over 4 months away from the first game against Old Dominion. Congratulations to each of those. Lenora Sellers wins the Offensive Player of the Spring. DQ Smith, the great defensive back on defense and on special teams. And Alex Herrera, the outstanding student athlete. We're back to talk about the 2024 schedule in just a moment when we return to Columbia.
Winter sports.
Getting ready for the third quarter here of the annual South Carolina spring game. Garnet leads the Black 10-0. This is what the Gamecock schedule looks like in 2024. Coach Beamer talked about it in the first half. No Florida, no Tennessee, no Georgia on the schedule. Instead, you got LSU, Ole Miss, at Alabama, at Oklahoma is a conference game in 2024 as the Sooners and the Longhorns come into the conference. There are big storylines to discuss in 2024 in the Southeastern Conference. Nick Saban's no longer coaching the Crimson Tide. That would be near the top of the list, but I would go to Oklahoma and Texas. I think that those are perfect fits for this league.
No, it makes total sense. And, a couple of programs that wanted to be a part of this conference a couple of years ago. Fantastic to see them able to enter into this conference, be a part of the culture. Both of them, obviously, this sport's a big part of who they are and what they want to be. Obviously, centerpieces of their athletic programs. You look at that schedule. I mean, it's almost like South Carolina migrated west geographically. All their teams are over there, except for like the Vanderbilts of this world.
We did pick up some Cooper's Barbecue. Kevin Maloney, our great stats man, and I, years ago for Matt Stinchcomb. So he's just excited there in the conference because he gets to sample the fare in Austin and in Norman. Food there's good too.
Yeah. But you look at the storylines and the things that have changed. So you mentioned no Nick Saban. Well, we haven't said that since 2006. And so that transition, the impact that ultimately has, and then huge question marks you think about for a South Carolina opponent like LSU, where we can talk about no Spencer Rattler, Xavier Legette, but then LSU, they are completely overhauling their passing game as well. And you think about how prominent of a role that played for their success offensively a season ago with a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, now having to replace that position.
You look at that little storyline graphic that we just showed you, and you think, who's LSU going to have on their team? Well, as Don Staley gets the crowd going here in Columbia, just remember the portal is open again.
Yeah.
So there's going to be all sorts of changes in the league in 2024 and throughout college football. It's just the way it works these days.
Roster fluidity, right? But none of this sticks any longer. And obviously, when you think about the names within the conference, we will not see transfers that will immediately be eligible. Speaking of transfers, new quarterback.
There's Davis Bevel coming in from Oklahoma. He grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, so he'll get to play some quarterback in the second half with Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Taylor Zarzer. And tonight's field analyst, replacing Alyssa Lang, who is in the studio doing more important things, is the usual head coach of the Gamecocks, Shane Beamer, although he has a different role tonight, field analyst and being everything else the stadium requires.
I don't know if I agree with Alyssa Lang's in the studio doing more important stuff than this. It's pretty dang important.
Fair point. What is your assessment of the first half, Mr. Field Analyst?
Yeah, I'm gaining more and more respect for Alyssa, but good first half. Love the competitive spirit, love the energy of these guys, and should be an entertaining second half. And just like the first half ended, I've already got guys mad at me about calling sacks, although y'all agree that was a sack.
That was a sack.
Okay.
Brian Thomas gets credit for that one for sure.
I will say, Day has a distinct advantage over Alyssa. I think his access is a little bit more extensive.
That's fair.
He knows the ins and outs of what's going on. Literally on the field analyst.
That's right. In the middle of the action. We always want access here at ESPN and SEC Network, and we've got all that we can handle tonight.
We're trying to give it to you.
3rd and 23 for Bevel. See how he gets himself out of this. He's just going to hand it off and go forward up to the 14-yard line as Thomas makes the tackle on Jawarn Howell.
See how the guys in there. You see Franks in there trying to finish off. You got talent like the Kai Krogers and special teams. Get 3rd and forever like that. Play smart, kick it away, get a little field position.
Imagine we're about to see Dante Reno as well. True freshman coming in from Massachusetts to compete at the quarterback spot as we continue here in the 3rd quarter. Garnet leading the Black 10-0 here in Columbia. Come on back. Events of the year coming up on Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday on ESPN, ABC, and the family of networks. And you're going to hear this man's name called Spencer Rattler, setting a single season record for completions and completion percentage last season for the Gamecocks. He'd be happy with the way Dante Reno just threw the ball down the field. There is a flag, though. It's caught by Doty down there near the 30-yard line. Coach Beamer, it was a privilege to cover Spencer Rattler the last couple of years. I know it was an even bigger privilege to coach him and get to know him as well as you did.
Yeah, fantastic representative of our program, great player, great competitor.
Ineligible
great
player
leader.
downfield.
Excited
Offense.
for what's next
Number
for
84.
him.
5-yard
Talking
penalty.
to NFL teams, there's
First
a lot
down.
of teams that are excited about him and really eager for next weekend for him and Leggett and all of our guys that'll be in the draft next weekend.
See a procedure penalty there. Coach, you think about the role that he played, the centerpiece of this offense for Spencer Rattler. And so as that transitions and knowing that quarterback room being the way that it was, and you've got a new entrant, obviously, with Robbie Ashford, what's your assessment of that room? Not just from a personnel standpoint, but the dynamic when a guy that's as veteran, as experienced as Spencer Rattler isn't in there any longer.
Yeah, it's
Dylan Stewart, big hit there for the freshman.
It's been good. You know, it's kind of funny. Like Lenoris is kind of like the guy in the room with the most experience, and he's a freshman. But here at Carolina, I mean, you know, Luke Doty's in the room, but he's focusing mainly at receiver this spring. Still doing quarterback though. But you got Davis Bevel, who started games in the Big 12. You got Robbie Ashford, who started games in the SEC. Dante Reno here is a true freshman. So they're all at different stages of their career and all have different levels of experience, but they're a good group and they're making each other better.
Reno gets rid of this one quickly and overshoots Doty there. How did you find Dante, Coach?
Dante, you know, we've been recruiting him for, it seems like forever. Going back to really the 2021, 2022 season, just had seen his tape and he came down here some, fell in love with it. His dad, Tony, his mom, Tony, so it was easy to remember their names, Tony and Tony, and they're fantastic people. Obviously, being the son of a head coach, he's growing up around the game. I love Coach's kids, and he's going to be a good player for us. And Dante did such a great job. You know, you're talking about all these true freshmen that we have out here. You're talking about all these true freshmen that we have out here. You know, this recruiting class, they were committed to us for a long time. And most of them were committed to us before the season. They stayed committed during the season. And Dante was a big part of that, you know, kind of the leader of the signing class, and did a great job of recruiting those guys and getting them here. So love the group, and Dante is was a big part of that and going to be a good player for us.
Coach referenced his dad, Tony, the Yale football coach. Tony Reno. It's 10-0 Garnet leading the Black with 6:28 to go in the third quarter on a beautiful night in Columbia, South Carolina. He spent 3 years at Pitt, played the last 2 at Oklahoma. Now he's with the Gamecocks, and he's handing off to Larry Scott. Scott gets a few, moving the line up to the 9-yard line.
It's like a size profile for these quarterbacks. You got to be like north of 240 to get into the quarterback room now.
He's 6'6", too.
6'6".
Yeah.
He's a monster. Some big Monkel Goodwine, number 44, Alabama transfer, big square defensive lineman. The previous possession, true freshman Dylan Stewart making some plays. Called his name a couple of times. Some new faces to this program defensively.
Scott again gets hit by Ronnie Porter. Good lick there to make the tackle. It'll be third down. Coach Beamer, as you go through spring, what has excited you most, whether it's position group or just in your entire team?
One, the way they practice. I mean, they love to compete. We had practice 13 on Thursday, Taylor, and that was maybe the most energetic, spirited practice we've had all spring. So they're a hungry group. They love to compete. They love to work. So I love their mindset. They've been that way since January, very hungry. And then just overall, I think I'm excited about the depth and the athleticism we have on defense. We got more people. They're more athletic. We got a lot of guys that can just make plays. You know, last year we got worn down at times just because of injuries and youth and lack of depth. It showed up in some games, and this year we've got more bodies on defense and just love their athleticism and the way they practiced all spring.
That grab by Amari Huggins-Bruce, who comes in from Louisville, also a kid that gets to come back home to the state of South Carolina. Dillon, South Carolina native.
Yep, Dillon, South Carolina, home with Josiah Thompson, our left tackle, and great program over there with Coach Roller.
You know, Coach, when you look at some of the new entrants, when y'all are evaluating guys that are already at the collegiate level, What drives it? Is it interest and availability, or are you looking for position-specific needs?
It's usually with the portal, it's position specific. You know, it's an area where, okay, we know we're going to be young here. We need to get some experience, or it's a position that we just have a lack of depth for whatever reason. So I would say it's usually just, position need, but also I tell our players all the time, I mean, my job is always to do what's best for the program. And if there's a great player out there that's available, that wants to be a Gamecock and fits what we're about culture-wise, then we'll always try and add great players to this program. And we've added some really, really great players, but more importantly, we've added some really good people to this program as well with a lot of these new transfers. They've really fit in well.
That's the look at the freshman recruiting class, which was one of the best in the country. The grab on the last play was made by one of those guys he's talking about, Brady Hunt. That was a good catch coming across the formation there, coming in from Ball State. He was a freshman All-American for Ball State a couple of years ago, coming off injury. Clearly is healthy now and will immediately have an impact on that tight end room with Joshua Simon and others.
Yeah, Brady's done a great job. Engaged. He's getting married this summer, as a matter of fact. So he's got a big summer ahead of him. Brady does. But he's a guy that, we're really pleased with his progress. He's a guy, believe it or not, Ball State actually played Tennessee, I think it was in 2022. And getting ready to play Tennessee in the 2022 season, we were watching that Ball State game and noticed him and remember commenting, golly, Ball State's got a couple pretty good tight ends. And then when he went in the portal, there was a connection with Pete Limbo, our former special teams coach, who had been at Ball State previously as the head coach and knew Brady's family, and he's been a great addition to us. Great young man.
Larvadan, Hunt, Sanders, that's just on offense, as well as Brown, who has made a couple of catches in this game. Defensively, there's a guy that comes into the program again on defense with making the play, Gilbert Edmond.
We've seen a couple nice get-offs. Nice pass rushes from the edges. Here in the second half especially, you see Gilbert Edmond, as you mentioned, a South Carolina player before, went on sabbatical to FSU, came on back. You think about some of these others in the schools, a lot of Pitt players as well that have made the transition at each level, a D lineman, a linebacker, and a secondary player.
Look at that, since December of 2022, when it all started, and that's nearly 1,000 more people that entered it than entered it the previous year.
I mean, and this does not capture the ones that talked about it, thought about it, and never actually did, but would have met with their respective teams that potentially would have entered the portal. And that number's only going to get larger. There's no reason for us to, there's nothing that would indicate that activity is going to regress.
There's a lot of people out there, Coach, that would love to make some changes to it. As long as these are the rules, you have to embrace the rules, correct?
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, it's different, and you better learn to adapt and adjust, and that's what we've tried to do. There's certainly some things that I would change about it. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. We brought in some great players. We've been talking about them all night because of the portal. But certainly there's some things that I, like a lot of coaches, don't like, but we're going to make it an advantage for us as much as we can. But at the end of the day, we want to recruit players out of high school and bring people into our program that want to be a Gamecock and are here for the right reasons and want them to have a great experience here and keep our team intact.
Reno to throw. And that's Nick Barrett. Gets in there.
Sorry for the whistle in your ear right there, fellas.
No, hey, you're in charge down there. You got to make
the turn it on and off.
I like though that you have a quick whistle, because if a quarterback feels pressure, you want him to get rid of the football.
Yeah, I do, and part of it is I'm tired of hearing the D linemen complain at me all night.
They've been working, Coach.
They have.
They've been working the refs.
I want to let it play out, and getting back there and being able to touch him necessarily isn't a sack, but I want to try and keep it as honest as I possibly can, and that's what we're trying to do.
Reno gets a screen and gets past the 45-yard line up near the 47. what should be the last play of the third quarter. 12-yard pickup for the true freshman from Massachusetts.
Fourth quarter!
Coach Beamer thought that they were cheering for the gunner earlier during one of the drills.
Timeout.
They are cheering for the best basketball coach in the world at the collegiate level. Don Staley in the house, winning another national championship, firing everybody up at Williams-Brice Stadium on a beautiful night in Columbia.
Hey, the TV crew said it wasn't a sack. They want you to tag off on them more. Great job, finish! And what they do from us, great job, man. Great job. That's a sack, that's a sack, that's a sack right here. We gotta go. We gotta go. It's a real game. There's a play clock.
Just can't get enough of this kind of access from the head coach. Shane Beamer tonight joining us on the field. Matt Stinchcomb, Taylor Zarz are with you as the Gamecocks prepare for the 2024 season. First game is August 31st against Old Dominion. I really don't want to talk right now because as my guys Kevin Maloney and Russ Moore do such a great job with us here in the booth, coming here for a night game, Stench, it's as good as it gets in American sports.
The whole environment, right? Part of it's the sandstorm. Everybody gets wound up on that. The lighting system's amazing. Everybody gets cranked up. And because of that, you know, that juices up. That's the definition of a home team advantage. Like a home field advantage is when the environment is excited. And there's a little electricity in there. They do a great job of ginning that up.
South Carolina.
Timeout. Okay, timeout, South Carolina.
Maybe as opposed to the Gamecocks.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
We should have asked Coach Beamer another question during Sandstorm, though, just so
he would try to do. He'd have to do a report like Alyssa does.
Yeah, exactly. Give him the full field analyst experience.
He did do his first report tonight during the first Sandstorm, and he couldn't hear a thing. And you did a good job with that.
I tried. I knew it was going to be a long night when we were in the tunnel for 2001, and I could hear you guys like humming and singing and everything else.
Yeah. It's a catchy thing.
I appreciate the way you've embraced the environment here tonight.
Heck yeah, we love being here. This is 4th and 1, by the way. In shotgun, fake Reno throws. The Kari Swain got that. What a grab by Swain for the pick. The freshman from Carrollton, Georgia. The black team are going down the other way to celebrate.
Well, Coach, I think there's a chance he watches that one, and the coaching point is it's 4th and 1. You can get the conversion. You got him open right there.
Really good play. Bakari's the one that we tried to throw the touchdown pass to earlier when he was playing offense as a defensive back. So he got it. He got it back.
Man, heck of a play. I'm going to track this football. He's trying to get it downfield to Elksness. Instead, it's up in the hands of Swain. He plays pretty long. Obviously, they like his hands. Didn't have much of a shot at it earlier. Kilgore kind of underthrew him.
Timeout. South Carolina. Should be 30 seconds.
Trying to avoid the delay of game there. 9:53 to go in the fourth quarter. And Swain with the big play there. First turnover of the game tonight. As the Garnet leads the Black 10-0. Davis Bevel and the Gamecock offense will be back on the field here in the fourth quarter. Bunch of fresh faces for the Gamecocks, especially at quarterback. Lenore Sellers looked good in the first half for the Gamecocks. He scored the only touchdown of the game for the Garnet team on that first drive of the game.
Did some good job, nice decision making. Had some nice completions as well. He's definitely done for the day. Looks like he's about to give a lecture on the sidelines.
He's wearing those glasses over there. Nice catch made at the sideline by Connor Cox. By the way, Sellers was 9 of 11 passing for 70 yards. He also ran it 5 times for 38 yards and a touchdown.
And part of it is just the way it looked. Never in any way looked like he was hurried or frazzled, even though there was some times where as the protection broke down, he was able to make plays with his legs and extend plays.
Handoff goes to Chase McCracken. Kraken, the sophomore from Hilton Head, South Carolina. Monkel Goodwine on the tackle.
It's Goodwine inside. He's able to get some separation. Able to release off of that block of Aaron Parks. You see that time we're just trying to bounce that run. McCracken's trying to get back outside. Connor Cox on the previous play with the reception. Some depth guys out there now getting some meaningful reps here in the second half.
Bevel hit as he threw, and they're going to give Goodwine the sack.
We were marveling earlier. So you got Coach. He's down there. He's spotting the ball. He's whistling sacks. He's talking to us. We need to get him an instrument or something. He's got a hit for the cycle. Coach, they're not going to have you cutting the grass after this thing, are they? He said, that's about enough of this. So
Fourth and
coach my team.
4th and 15.
Yeah.
And they're going to go for it. Bevel will, under 8 minutes to go. Watch out for Coach there. Bevel gets rid of it, incomplete, and it'll be a turnover on downs. Chased down the field by Wendell Gregory. Buddy Mack looked like he might have gotten a hand on that at the end of the play. 7:44 to go in the fourth quarter, and the Gamecocks are getting ready for 2024. Cannot wait for 2024 with OU and the Horns coming into the conference, and each team will either play Texas or Oklahoma. The Gamecocks will be in Norman, Oklahoma for a conference game this year. And there's Nathan Harris Wainick. It runs down inside the 15-yard line.
Nice cut there. Interesting, that last bullet point. No more divisions, but top 2 teams in the conference, that's who plays for your conference championship. It's a sea change. It's not just 2 new teams entering the conference, but the way the entire conference is structured, first time it's different since South Carolina entered the conference, since 1992.
Fake to Harris Wainick, nice ball, and extend to the pylon. Maurice Brown, touchdown. What a move by Brown to get that ball across. Coach Beamer, that's the effort you gotta love to see tonight.
No doubt. Selling out deep in the fourth quarter of the Garnet and Black game. But he was the...
won one of the awards tonight.
Yep, won the award at halftime there. Timeout.
Timeout.
Wake
South
up!
Carolina. This will be 30 seconds.
I don't give a damn who.
Coach doing a good job encouraging his players. Well, I got to tell you, this is part of it, right? And this is what we were talking with Coach earlier. This is part of the elements of what you want to see in the spring games. Focus all the way through.
William Joyce also won a spring award, and he knocks in the extra point. 17-0 Garnet leading the Black with 6:56 to go. Good job by Reno to take that ball out of the belly, and Brown extends it for the touchdown.